I would like to give you one interesting figure. In Italy, we have, in the electoral law, we have the possibility for 4 million of Italians abroad to vote for deputies elected from the Italians from abroad. And on these 4 million of voters, we took, our party, with Roberto, we took the absolute majority. The absolute majority. People abroad, Italians abroad, voted in absolute majority. They gave the absolute majority of these deputies to us. And we lost elections at home. My lesson on that is that we are very good with people globalized. We are less good with people on the ground. And this is one key point. The fact that on many issues that are related to the poorest conditions of life, to the big problems with the present energy crisis, you mentioned this point, and I think it was very good what Stefan, you said at the very beginning of this matinee this morning. It is absolutely essential that the European Union can give an immediate answer to that. Because it's a demonstration that if we are able to tackle these problems, we are able to tackle the problems for people who risk to be left behind. And this is exactly what we have to do as progressives, as socialists and democrats. And my conclusion on that, because time is quite over, is the fact that you know, in my experience with populists and with the far right, there's a very simple compass. And the compass is that we win when Europe is going well. We lose when Europe is going bad. There's an immediate link between the way in which Europe is able to deliver and the way in which Europe is not. The example is what happened in 20 and 21st. We won all the elections in Italy, all the elections. It was the period in which Europe was delivering. It was delivering because of Next Generation EU, because of the pandemic, vaccines, fantastic. And I think what you did, I see Olaf. Olaf was one of the architects of the Next Generation EU idea. And I think it was fantastic. It was good, successful. What Antonio did on the social pillar, Europe delivering. I think this is the key issue. On climate change, I see France here. When Europe delivers, we win. When Europe does not deliver, we are in dire straits, and populist and far right are winning. So my conclusion is very simple. We have to push Europe in being better. Further integration, better delivery, and able to answer concrete questions by the people on the street. Europe has to answer these kind of questions, not only talking with national governments or with a national establishment. And I think Next Generation EU was exactly the good example. It was a success. We have to take into account the success, and we have to keep fighting on that.
Thank you, Enrico. And now back to Tanya. Congratulations again for entering in government and sending away the populist government. We already said it, the SPD managed to keep the far right small, but also in Slovenia you succeeded. And what can we learn from the Slovenian example?
Yes, thank you. I prefer to speak or think about what we have or have to do better. And this is what I really strongly believe, Lars, you said at the beginning, respect. That respect won in Germany in your campaign. It was something similar in Slovenia. We tried to do and give people back their voice. We tried to show them that we have a respect and that we want to give them dignity. I'm coming from Ljubljana, and you said well that we changed the populist government. Our democracy in Slovenia was seriously endangered. We had a strong political interference in the freedom of media, in the democracy, in the rule of law. And I'm coming from Ljubljana. I never imagined that in my hometown, that during the peaceful manifestation, people were angry against the government. That during this peaceful manifestation, we had water cannons and tear gas scaring people away. You've never imagined these dark images of the city. So we really tried to bring the voice back of people. And we now, as a new government, are opening back the doors to civil society, to NGOs. We are fighting for freedom of media. We still have a big difficulties with interference in the public broadcast, in the National Press Agency. All that was happening in my country in a very short period. We were following very bad populist, nationalist narratives that are winning what is happening today in Sweden or in Italy. So what I try to do, also as a deputy prime minister with our progressive party, is that we really want to be back part of the core of Europe, defending our fundamental values of solidarity, equality, democracy, and especially understand what people expect from us, engage them and give them their voice, and bring back the credibility that our policy is really losing. This is what we really have to work very hard.
Thank you, Tanya. Thank you very much. And I'm turning to Ylva, Commissioner. On your portfolio, you have also the fight against crime, the security issue within the European Union. So how do you think that the EU is doing when it comes to fight against criminality in its different form in Europe?
We are not doing well enough. We are stepping up, and we need to do much more in strengthening police cooperation, using new technology in the fight against crime. But can I also say that I think that we as a political family can do better on the fight against crime. Crime has a clear class perspective. Only very, very rich people can care about their own security. All normal citizens, they live in areas where drugs are being dealt. They go on public transport where there are risks of robbery. They have to work in shops as drivers and in many other jobs where there is a risk of being victim of criminality. And in my view, having a safe society is the glue in society. If you feel that you are not protected by police, by society, or if you feel that some groups are better protected than others, for example, because of the color of the skin or their origin, this is really a poison to society. So we need to take back the fight against criminality to do it in a social democratic way. And there is also a clear gender perspective here. Just to give you one example, when the war in Ukraine broke out, I immediately understood that there could be a huge risk of trafficking of women and children. Is that because I'm a woman myself? Maybe. And then immediately we started, and after 1 week, Europol has started a special task force for fighting against trafficking. Is it because the executive director of Europol is a woman? Maybe. And we have activated the whole network of all anti-trafficking coordinators that we have in the European Union. Is it because the anti-trafficking coordinator is a woman? Maybe. But I think trafficking of human beings is just one example. We have a lot of problems with trafficking of drugs, trafficking of weapons. These you can only sell once. If you traffic women and children, you can sell this young woman, her body, again, and again, and again, and again, and again. And this is a crime with a lot of impunity. So we, as social democrats, we have to take the fight against criminality.
Thank you so much, Ilva. And with this very strong plea, I'd like to thank all the panelists, Enrico Letta, Ilva Johansson, Josep Borrell, Tanja Fajon, and Lars Klingbeil. Thank you so much.
And thank you, Caroline and Jonek. Thank you very much. So, to introduce the next speaker of our Congress, who is so special to all of us in our family, I'm going to need a little bit of help. So I would like to ask back on stage our Secretary General, Achim Post.
Long time no see, huh?
Long time no see. Hello, Achim.
Hi.
So, about this next special speaker,
Yeah.
how long have you known him?
Between you and me, or for
Yeah.
the whole conference?
Why not? We're amongst friends. So,
Yeah. You always say that we are amongst friends,
Yes.
so I know him since 1977, when I, as a young socialist coming from a small village in North Rhine-Westphalia for the first time in my life to a big city. And that was a conference, of the young socialists. And I remember well that both of us had perhaps a little bit more longer hair than today. More like this here, like it was used in the 70s. Huh?
Maybe I've seen the curls, you mean, as well.
Yeah.
Huh?
I didn't have. No?
The special
Yeah,
guest.
could be.
Yeah? Maybe. And so you've known him for a long time. You still work closely with him, have the privilege of working closely with him. So I can also ask you something about now.
You can?
Okay. So why is it that you think he makes such a great chancellor?
So being serious now, huh?
Yes.
And political. So first of all, conference, comrades, delegates, I'm happy that you are here, that you are so patient, and that you make this Berlin Congress such a big success. That's the first of all. And I promised before, Antonio, when we started in Lisbon with the Congress, then in Madrid with Pedro, and now in Berlin, that we will do finally a good job like you did in Lisbon and Pedro in Madrid. So we are not so bad, I would say. But coming to your question, it is good to have a chancellor who is strong and competent. I guess you agree. It is very good to have a chancellor who is winning elections, like he did 1 year ago. Yeah, you can applaud. But in historical times, I guess in the most critical situation since World War II, it is necessary, no, it is absolutely necessary to have a chancellor who you can trust on. You have a chancellor who is a real leader in these difficult times, and therefore it's good to have here Olaf Scholz, the Chancellor of the Federal Republic of Germany.
Welcome again to this stage, Olaf Scholz, Chancellor of Germany and our host of these days.
And I use this second, if you
Yes,
allow.
no, of course.
Because you are the boss here, but
No.
give me just a second. So I'm seeing the two leaders of SPD, Saskia Esken and Lars Klingbeil. And really, we are grateful that you are the host. You are a wonderful host. Thanks you very much. And now I would say,
Yes.
Olaf, it's a
We're ready.
pleasure and an honor to have you here, the Chancellor of Germany.
Dear Sergei, dear Stefan, dear comrades, and France. I'm delighted that Social Democrats from all over Europe have been able to meet here in Berlin over the past couple of days. Berlin is located in the heart of Europe, and so it is the ideal meeting place for all those who have Europe in their hearts. And it is definitely the right place at the right moment. Just across the street, only a few steps away from here, you will see the East Side Gallery. Every single day, this remaining section of the Berlin Wall serves as a reminder of how the city of Berlin was divided and how the Europe was formerly divided into East and West. This division is now a thing of the past. It was a division that the people of Europe refused to accept. And thanks to many brave citizens, this wall that divided the people was finally brought down. And the people joined together in solidarity and sealed the end of the East-West conflict. This solidarity can still be perceived today, and we, Social Democrats, are working hard to guarantee that this kind of solidarity continues to exist throughout Europe. Dear comrades, now we are again faced with the question where the new dividing line between a free Europe and a neo-imperial autocracy will run in the future. I called it Zeitenwende when the Russian attack on and invasion of Ukraine began in February. Putin wants to draw a new border through our continent by force, something we never wanted to experience again in Europe. Consequently, the brutal invasion of Ukraine is an assault on the European security order. We resolutely oppose this, not only as individual states and in association with our transatlantic partners, but also as the European Union. Never again should there be war between its member states. This was the founding promise of the European Union. It is now up to us to preserve and develop this promise of peace. This is what most people, both in the former West and in the former East, expect from Europe. That is why we cannot accept Russia's assault on peace in Europe. We cannot simply watch women, men and children being killed, see free countries being whipped off the map and disappearing behind walls of iron curtains. We do not want to return to the 19th and 20th centuries with their wars of conquest and totalitarian excesses. Europe must assume responsibility for its own security and defense and strengthen European defense capabilities in order to support and strengthen NATO as the key pillar of our common security policy. Dear Magdalena, and dear Sanna, who is not with us at this moment, I'm delighted that we will soon strengthen our NATO alliance by welcoming Sweden and Finland as members. At the same time, however, we do not intend to react purely on a military level. We are confronting the autocrats and dictators of this world with strong European cohesion. This is reflected in the sanctions we have introduced. We are committed to our common values of peace, democracy, and freedom by conviction. This is how we defend our European values against attacks from the outside. This is also what distinguishes the life's work of Willy Brandt, who spoke to the people of Berlin in front of the Schöneberg Town Hall on the 10th of November 1989. In the wake of the emotional events of the previous days, he talked about a wind of change blowing across Europe and that Germany and Berlin could not avoid being part of these changes. Brandt spoke about our duties towards peace and towards Europe and emphasized that there could be no political solutions if we failed to respect these duties. Willy Brandt spoke of the need to continue the development of the European community and to overcome the fragmentation of our continent once and for all. Dear friends, this is exactly what our task in Europe is about, overcoming divisions and putting those pieces together again that belong together. To do this, we need a solid set of shared values combined with great courage and determination. European social democracy is sending this courage today from Berlin. Courage for Europe. Liebe Freundinnen und Freunde,
Dear friends,
liebe Freundinnen und Freunde,
dear friends,
ich bin deshalb sehr froh, dass
I'm
wir beim
therefore very
Europäischen Rat
glad
im Juni
that at the
geschlossen Ja
European
gesagt
Council in
haben.
June
Ja,
we
die
unanimously
Ukraine,
said
die
yes.
Republik Moldau,
Yes, Ukraine, the
perspektivisch auch
Republic of
Georgien und
Moldova,
natürlich die Staaten
prospectively
des westlichen
also
Balkans
Georgia,
gehören zu
and of
uns,
course the
zum
countries of the
freien,
Western
demokratischen
Balkans
Teil
belong with
Europas.
us, the free and democratic part of Europe.
Wir stehen bei unseren
We have
Beitrittskandidaten
given
im
our
Wort, bei
word
den Ländern
to the
des westlichen
accession
Balkans sogar
to the
schon seit
accession
fast 20
candidates
Jahren.
to the countries
Und
of the
diesen
Western
Worten
Balkans,
müssen
in
jetzt
fact,
endlich
almost
Taten
20
folgen.
years ago. And these words must now be followed by deeds.
Eddie, I just said that we are standing by the countries of the Western Balkans. Dafür steht die SPE, dafür
That
stehe
is what
ich
the
ein.
PS
Und das
stands
ist gut für
for, and
uns
this is
alle,
what
wenn wir in
I
einer
stand
Welt mit
for.
bald 10
And this
Milliarden
is good
Menschen
for us
unsere
if
Werte
we want to
behaupten wollen.
assert our values in a
Eine
world of 8
geeinte
billion,
Europäische
probably
Union
10
aus
billion people in the
27,
future.
30,
A European
36
Union of
Staaten
27,
mit dann
30 or
mehr als
36
500 Millionen
states
freien und
with more than
gleichberechtigten Bürgern und Bürgern
500 million
kann
free
ihr
and
Gewicht
equal
in dieser Welt
citizens
noch stärker zur Geltung bringen.
will be
Eine
able
Europäische Union
to
mit dem größten Binnenmarkt der
assert
Welt,
itself better in a
mit
global
führenden
sense.
Forschungseinrichtungen,
An
Innovationen
economy
und
powered by
innovativen
renewable
Unternehmen,
energies,
mit stabilen
with
Demokratien, mit einer sozialen Versorgung
leading
und einer
research
öffentlichen
institutions,
Infrastruktur, die
innovations
auf ihrer
and
Welt
innovative
seinesgleichen
companies with stable democracies,
und mit einer
social
Wirtschaft,
services and a
die
public
durch erneuerbare
infrastructure
Energien angetrieben
unparalleled in the
wird,
world.
Strom aus
An
Sonne,
economy
Wind
powered
und
by
Wasser
renewable
und die
energies,
sichere
electricity
Arbeitsplätze für
from
die
the sun,
Zukunft schafft.
wind and water, creating
All
secure jobs
das
for the
ist
future.
möglich.
All this
Die
is
Erfahrung der
possible.
vergangenen Monate
The
zeigt doch,
experience of the past
Blockaden lassen sich
months
überwinden.
proves that blockades
Darum
can
habe ich
be
vor ein paar
overcome.
Monaten,
That is
ein
why
paar
a
Wochen in
few
Prag Ideen
weeks
zur
ago
Zukunft der
in
Union
Prague,
vorgestellt.
I presented
Erstens,
some ideas
ich
on the
setze mich
future
für die
of the
Erweiterung
Union
der
in Prague.
Europäischen Union
Firstly,
ein.
I am personally
Dass die EU
committed
weiter
to
in
the
Richtung Osten
enlargement of
wächst,
the
ist für uns
European
alle
Union.
ein Gewinn.
That the EU continues
Natürlich
to grow
sind die
towards the East is a
Kandidatenländer
gain for
gefordert,
all of
die
us.
Kriterien
Of
für den
course,
Beitritt zu
the
erfüllen.
candidate countries
Und dabei werden wir sie
need to
bestmöglich
fulfill the
unterstützen.
criteria for accession. We will
Doch auch
support
die
them
Europäische
in this
Union
aspect we
selbst
can.
müssen wir fit machen
But
für
we
diese
must
Erweiterung.
also make the EU fit
Die EU wird
for
neue
this
Mitglieder
great
aufnehmen können,
enlargement.
wenn sie die
The
Dynamik
EU
der
will
europäischen
only be able
Vertiefung
to
aufrechterhält
accept new
und damit
members
die
if it keeps up
Grundlage
the
für eine
momentum of
deutlich
European
größere
deepening
EU
and
schafft.
thus creates the basis for a much larger EU.
Im Ministerrat ist schnelles, pragmatisches Handeln gefragt. Ich habe
Fast
deshalb
and pragmatic
vorgeschlagen, in der
action is needed
gemeinsamen
in the Council of
Außenpolitik,
Ministers. I
aber
have
auch
therefore
in anderen
proposed
Bereichen wie
that
der
in matters of the
Steuerpolitik
common
schrittweise
policy,
zu
but also in other
Mehrheitsentscheidungen
areas such
überzugehen.
as tax policy,
So
we move
kommen
incrementally
wir
towards
einer
majority voting.
solidarischeren und
This
engeren,
will bring us
verzahnten
a great deal
Europäischen Union
closer
ein
to a
großes Stück
more
näher.
solidary and closely interlinked
Ich weiß,
European Union.
dass wir da noch viel
I know
Überzeugungsarbeit
that we
leisten
still
müssen.
have a lot of
Aber ich
convincing
sage
to
auch
do
klar,
here. But I
wenn
would
ein
also like
geopolitisches
to make it
Europa unser
clear
Anspruch
that if
ist,
a
dann
geopolitical
sind
Europe is our
Mehrheitsentscheidungen ein
aspiration,
Gewinn und
then
kein Verlust
majority
an
decisions are a
Souveränität.
gain and not a loss of sovereignty.
Dabei dürfen wir die Sorgen
At the
gerade der
same
kleineren
time, we must not
Mitgliedstaaten
lose sight
nicht aus dem
of the
Blick verlieren. Auch in
concerns
Zukunft
of
muss
the
jedes
smaller
Land
member
mit
states in
seinen
particular.
Anliegen
In
Gehör
future,
finden.
too, every
Alles
country
andere
and its
wäre ein
concerns
Verrat an
must
der
be heard.
europäischen Idee.
Anything else would be a
Hier
betrayal
sehe
of
ich
the
gerade uns
European idea.
Sozialdemokraten und
I see
Sozialdemokraten
us
sehr
social
kritisch.
democrats
Lasst uns
as having a
gemeinsam
duty
nach
here.
Lösungen suchen,
Let us
wie ein
look
solches
together for
Europa
solutions as
zukünftig
to how
entscheiden
such a
kann.
Europe can make
Lasst
decisions
uns
in the
gemeinsam
future.
voranschreiten
Let us move
für ein
forward
souveränes, ein
together for a
starkes, für ein
sovereign and
demokratisches
strong,
und freies
for
Europa.
a democratic and free Europe.
Es kommt auf uns alle
It
an,
is down to
denn es
all
geht
of
um
us.
unsere europäische
Because
Souveränität.
what matters is our
Das ist
European
mein
sovereignty.
zweites Anliegen.
This
Im
is
Kern
my second
bedeutet
concern.
europäische
In
Souveränität
essence,
doch, dass wir
European
auf allen
sovereign
Feldern
means that we
eigenständiger
become more
werden, dass wir
independent
mehr
in all
Verantwortung übernehmen
areas,
für unsere
that we assume
eigene
more
Sicherheit, dass
responsibility
wir
for
noch
our
enger
own
zusammenarbeiten
security,
und
that we
zusammenstehen, um
cooperate
unseren
even more
Werten und
closely
Interessen Geltung
and
zu
stand together
verschaffen.
to assert our values and
Gerade erst
interests.
in dieser Woche
Especially
haben
this
mehr als ein
week,
Dutzend
more than
EU-Mitglieder
a
eine
dozen
Initiative
EU member
von uns
states
aufgegriffen, um eine
picked up an
gemeinsame
initiative
europäische
by us
Luftverteidigung
in
zu
order to
organisieren,
organize
das European
a
Sky Shield.
common European
Solche
air defense,
Souveränität
the
nach außen
European
bedingt
Sky Shield.
Souveränität nach innen.
That
Das
sovereignty
bedeutet
towards the
auch,
outside
solidarisch zusammenzustehen und gemeinsam
needs it
daran
on the
zu
inside
arbeiten,
as well.
unabhängig
It
zu werden
means to
von
stand in
Rohstoff- und
solidarity, to work
Energielieferungen
together on
einzelner
becoming
autokratischer
independent
Staaten.
of
Klar ist auch,
energy and fuel
Europa
deliveries
verdankt seinen
from a
Wohlstand dem
few
Handel.
autocratic countries.
Deshalb brauchen wir
Europe
auch
owes
weitere
its prosperity
nachhaltige
to trade.
Freihandelsabkommen und
That is
eine
why we need
ambitionierte
further
Handelsagenda.
sustainable free trade
Unsere
agreements and
Industrien
an
müssen in
ambitious
der
trade
Lage
agenda.
bleiben, Vorreiter
Our
bei
industries
Schlüsseltechnologien,
need to
bei der
be
Digitalisierung
in a
oder
position
bei
to
der
be a
Mobilität
pioneer
zu
in key
sein.
technologies,
Wir
in
müssen weltweit
digitization or
führend sein beim
mobility.
Ausbau und bei der
We have
Nutzung
to be
erneuerbarer
global
Energien.
leaders in the expansion
Das
and use
stärkt
of
unsere
renewable energies.
Unabhängigkeit,
That
das schafft
strengthens
sichere
our independence,
Arbeitsplätze,
it creates
das
secure
unterstützt
jobs,
unsere
it
Industrie und macht
supports
uns
our
attraktiv für
industry
unsere
and makes
Partner
us
in aller
attractive
Welt.
for our partners around the world.
Wir wollen zeigen, dass Klimaschutz
We
und
want to
Wohlstand Hand in
show
Hand gehen
that
können.
climate change
Und zwar indem wir
and
hier bei uns in Europa die Technologien entwickeln
a good
und zur
economy can go
Marktreife
hand in
führen,
hand
die weltweit
by
gebraucht und eingesetzt werden.
introducing developing
Wenn uns das
technologies here
gelingt,
that are
wird
used
diese
globally. If
große
we succeed
industrielle
in this,
Transformation
then
dazu
this
führen,
big
dass wir in 10,
industrial
20
change
oder
will
30 Jahren
lead
sichere
to
und gute Arbeitsplätze in Europa
secure
haben werden.
and good jobs throughout Europe in the
Das kommt
10, 20 or
natürlich nicht
30
von
years to
allein.
come.
Das
That
müssen wir gestalten.
doesn't happen by itself. We have
Liebe
to make
Freundinnen
it
und Freunde,
happen. Dear
Ich
friends,
möchte noch einen weiteren Punkt
I
herausgreifen,
would
weil er
like to pick up another point
beim Thema Souveränität
because
und mit Blick auf
the
den Krieg
subject
im
of
Osten unseres
sovereignty and with
Kontinents
a
eine
view of
entscheidende
the
Rolle
war in
spielt.
the east of our
Wir
continent, it
brauchen
is a
in
very
Europa ein
important one.
besseres
We need
Zusammenspiel
a
unserer
better
Verteidigungsanstrengungen.
cooperation of our defense
Zukünftig braucht
efforts
es
in
in der EU
Europe.
einen
In
koordinierten
future, we
Aufwuchs der
will need a
Fähigkeiten, eine gemeinsamere Beschaffung,
coordinated
eine schnelle Eingreiftruppe
organization of
der EU bis
capacities,
2025 und auch ein
fast,
EU-Hauptquartier
rapid
für eine klare
deployment,
Führungsstruktur. Wir
force
müssen selbstbewusst und
and
gemeinsam
headquarter in
europäische
Europe. For this, we
Verteidigungsanstrengungen
need
voranbringen.
to push forward with our defense efforts as well in a joint up way within Europe.
Das stärkt die Souveränität und die
That
Sicherheit
strengthens the
Europas.
sovereignty and the security of Europe.
Und der dritte große
And the
Handlungsauftrag, den ich für Europa sehe,
big
folgt aus der
mandate
Zeitenwende
I see
und
for
geht
Europe
zugleich
also
weit
follows
darüber
from this
hinaus.
turning point, and it goes far
Wir müssen die
beyond
Reihen
this.
schließen,
We
alte Konflikte
have
überwinden
to
und neue
close
Lösungen
ranks,
finden.
overcome old conflicts and
Das
find new
klingt nach einer
solutions.
Selbstverständlichkeit,
This
doch
sounds like it
dahinter
goes without
verbirgt sich so
saying,
viel
but
Arbeit.
there's a lot of work
Das gilt
involved to achieve
insbesondere für
it.
zwei Felder,
That
die in
is
den
especially
vergangenen
true
Jahren wohl
for
die
two
größten
areas
Spannungen zwischen
that
den
probably
Mitgliedstaaten
caused the
hervorgerufen haben,
greatest tensions
die
between the member
Migrations-
states
und
in
die
recent years,
Finanzpolitik.
migration and financial
Aber wir haben
policy.
in jüngster Vergangenheit gezeigt, dass
But
wir auch hier
the recent
gemeinsam
past
vorankommen
has shown
können.
that we can make
Nach
joint
dem Angriff Russlands auf
progress
die
here.
Ukraine hat die
After
EU
the
ihre
attack
Handlungsfähigkeit bewiesen
by Russia on
und Millionen
Ukraine,
Ukrainerinnen und Ukrainer
the EU
unkompliziert
has
Schutz
proved its
geboten.
ability to
Tatsache ist,
act and
Europa ist
offered
ein
protection
attraktiver
to
Kontinent.
Ukrainian citizens.
Viele möchten bei
Europe
und
is
mit
an
uns leben,
attractive continent.
sei
Many
es
people want to come
Schutz
and
vor
live
Krieg
here
und
with us,
Verfolgung
be
zu
it
finden
to find
oder auf der
protection
Suche
from
nach
war,
Arbeit und einem
persecution,
besseren
or
Leben.
on the search
Von
for
uns
work and a
Europäerinnen
better
und
life.
Europäern erfordert diese Realität,
Us
dass wir Migration
Europeans are
vorausschauend
required
gestalten müssen.
to
Das bedeutet auch,
work on
irreguläre
migration
Migration zu
with
verhindern und
foresight.
verringern und
That
zugleich
means
legale
also to
Migration und den
prevent
Zuzug von
illegal
Fachkräften aus
immigration
dem
and
Ausland zu
to
ermöglichen.
facilitate the migration of qualified and much needed workers from outside the EU.
In der Fiskalpolitik ist uns in der
In the
Corona-Krise
fiscal
mit dem
policy,
Aufbauprogramm ein historischer Schritt gelungen.
We managed
Wir haben
to
damit
take
eine
a historic
solidarische
step during the
europäische Antwort gegeben
COVID pandemic.
und
We gave a
nationale
solidary
Investitions- und
European
Reformprogramme
response
mit Mitteln der EU
and
unterstützt.
supported
Das Aufbauprogramm
investments
hilft uns
with
sogar in der
means from the
gegenwärtigen Krise.
EU. And this reconstruction program
Liebe
is helping
Freundinnen
us
und
now in the
Freunde,
current crisis as
in den
well.
Gründungsjahrzehnten
Dear friends, in the founding
des
decades
vereinten Europas ging es um
of the
engere wirtschaftliche
unified
Verbindungen.
German, it was all about
Aber das
closer economic
eigentliche Ziel
ties.
war
But
es,
the actual
jahrhundertealte
objective
Konflikte auf
was
dem
to
Kontinent zu
resolve
überwinden.
Conflicts
Es
that
ging um
had
Frieden
been
auf dem
in existence
Kontinent,
for hundreds of
der
years
nicht
on the continent.
zuletzt
It
durch
was
zwei
about
von
peace on
Deutschland
the continent,
ausgelöste Weltkriege
which
zu oft ins
was
Verderben gestürzt wurde.
plunged into
Inzwischen
ruin
ist aus dem
too many
Friedensprojekt auch ein
times, not least by the two
europaweites
world
Freiheits- und
wars triggered by
Gerechtigkeitsprojekt
Germany.
geworden.
In the meantime, however, the peace
Das wiederum
project has
verdanken wir
also
auch den
become
Bürgern
a
und Bürgern
Europe-wide
der
project
Länder,
of freedom
die erst später zu
and
unserer
justice.
Gemeinschaft dazugestoßen sind.
This, in turn, we owe above all to the
Spaniern
countries
und
that joined
Spaniern,
our
den Griechen
community
und
only
Griechen, den
later
Portugiesen
on,
und
the
Portugiesen, die
Spaniards,
sich nach
Greeks and
Jahrzehnten
the
der
Portuguese,
Diktatur
who
an
after
Europa der
decades of
Freiheit und Demokratie
dictatorship
zuwandten.
turned to a Europe of freedom and
Und wir
democracy.
verdanken es den Bürgern und
And
Bürgern
we
Mittel- und Osteuropas,
owe it to
die
the
mit ihrem
citizens of
Kampf für
Central and
Freiheit,
Eastern Europe
Menschenrechte und Gerechtigkeit
who
den
overcame
Kalten Krieg
the Cold War
überwunden haben.
with their struggle for freedom, human rights and justice.
Freiheit und Demokratie sind unser
Freedom and
erworbenes
democracy
Erbe, unser
are
gemeinsames Erbe.
our
Gerade
acquired
jetzt,
heritage, our
angesichts der
joint
erneuten Bedrohung
heritage,
von Freiheit und
especially now in
Demokratie,
view of the
die wir im
renewed threat
Osten
to
unseres
freedom
Kontinents erleben,
and
spüren wir
democracy
diese
that we are
Verbindung
experiencing
ganz
in the east of
besonders
our
stark.
continent. We feel this connection
der vierte
particularly
Gedanke,
strongly.
den ich
And
mit
this
euch
is
teilen
the
möchte.
fourth thought I would like to share with you.
Mitten in Europa von illiberaler
When
Demokratie
there is
geredet
talk
wird,
of illiberal
muss uns das
democracy in
sehr
the heart of
beunruhigen.
Europe, it must worry us
Deshalb können wir es
greatly.
nicht hinnehmen, wenn
That is why we
rechtsstaatliche
cannot
Prinzipien
accept
verletzt
it when
und
principles of the
demokratische
rule of
Kontrolle
law are
zurückgebaut werden.
violated and democratic
Deshalb
control is
unterstützen wir
dismantled.
Sozialdemokratinnen und Sozialdemokraten
That is
die
why
Europäische
Social
Kommission in
Democrats
ihrem
support
Einsatz für
the
Rechtsstaatlichkeit.
Commission in its commitment to the rule of law.
Liebe Freundinnen und Freunde,
Dear friends,
Putins Krieg
Putin's war
fordert die soziale Sicherheit und den
is
gesellschaftlichen Zusammenhalt
challenging
überall in
social
Europa
security and
heraus.
social cohesion
Denn er
everywhere
setzt
in Europe.
Energie als Waffe
For he is
gegen ein
using
freies
energy as a
Europa ein.
weapon against a free Europe.
Wir müssen unsere Gesellschaften
We
in dieser Krise
need to
zusammenhalten.
keep our societies together
Ich habe
in this
das mit einem
crisis.
Satz
I have
zusammengefasst.
summed this up in one
You'll never
sentence.
walk alone.
You'll never walk alone.
Das heißt, wir stehen zusammen in
That
Solidarität
means
und
we stand
Einigkeit und lassen
together
uns
in
nicht erschüttern.
solidarity and unity,
Gerade
and we
jetzt
can't be
müssen wir den
shaken.
sozialen
Especially
Zusammenhalt
now,
stärken.
social cohesion
Ein
must be
Kernanliegen der europäischen Sozialdemokratie.
strengthened, a core
Als gemeinsame Antwort auf die
issue of social
Herausforderungen
democracy, as a
von
joint
Inflation und
answer
steigenden
to the
Energiepreisen
challenges
brauchen
of
wir,
inflation and increasing
wie es
energy
unsere
prices.
gestern
We need,
verabschiedete
as
Resolution auch
our
fordert,
resolution
einen
that
europäischen
we
Pakt für bezahlbare Energie und
decided on
sozialen
yesterday, we
Zusammenhalt.
need to have a European
Ein
pact
wichtiger Baustein
on
dafür ist das, was wir
solidarity
gemeinsam in
and
der
on
EU
affordable
durchgesetzt haben.
energy. That
Dass
is a
Zufallsgewinne in der
very
Krise abgeschöpft werden
an important
und dass wir
building block
dadurch
for this
Bürgerinnen
is
und
what we
Bürger
have
und
jointly
Unternehmen
achieved in the
direkt
EU,
entlasten
that
können.
windfall profits are skimmed off in the crisis and that we thereby directly relieve citizens and companies.
Dear friends, times of change and challenges are also times for unity and decisive action. We are the largest political family and the one with the longest tradition. Together, we have the best chances of shaping and improving Europe. That is why we strive to become the most powerful force in the European Parliament in 2024. There's one person who played a big part in this success story, a true European and an experienced political leader. Thank you, Sergej, for your outstanding job over the past 11 years. And now with Stefan at the helm of the PES European social democracy has been further reinforced by a strong leadership figure. Thank you for your willingness to lead us. Our movement will enhance its claim to participation in the shaping of a just, sustainable and social Europe in the years to come. Stefan has not only rendered outstanding service as the Prime Minister of Sweden and Chairman of the Swedish Social Democratic Workers' Party, he has also been the driving force behind a lot of European achievements. The Social Summit he initiated in Gothenburg in 2017 gave the European Pillar of Social Rights the decisive impetus, paving the way for a fairer European Union for everyone. By stacking the Social Summit in Porto, Antonio Costa consistently continued along this path in the course of last year's Council presidency. Let me conclude by mentioning a central task that is crucial for Europe's future. We must forge ahead in achieving equality between women and men. Gender equality has been hit hard not just by the COVID pandemic. The Russian invasion of Ukraine brought millions of refugees, mostly women and children, to the EU and other countries. The gender component of wars and conflict is clear. Gender-based violence, risk of trafficking, and many other factors of armed conflicts disproportionately affect women. In response to this, we must take fast and determined action. Gender equality is and will remain a core value of PES, thanks particularly to the active role of PES women. It is you who have put these topics high up on our agenda, and I hope you will carry on. Women and women's rights need to be a part of the solution developed to counteract global challenges. I vouch to you that our political family will have the drive to securing and advancing gender equality in every possible way. Dear friends, we are the people, was the appeal of the protesters in 1989. It was the appeal of the citizens which made Politburo autocrats understand that the people were no longer prepared to tolerate the suppression of freedom, democracy, and the rule of law. It was the appeal that brought down the wall peacefully. Today, as Russia seeks to forcibly redraw the borders between freedom and autocracy, we are the people of Europe, must now resound throughout Europe, from the Mediterranean to the North Sea, from Lisbon to Tbilisi and beyond. Together we shall lay the foundation for a Europe of freedom, security and democracy. This is how we can protect and defend Europe's values, both internally and externally. Europe is our future, and we shall shape this future with courage. Thank you.
On September 13, 1 month ago, a young woman was walking in the streets of the capital of her country. She was 22 years old, and apparently, for a reason that I believe nobody in this room can find explicable, a group of men decided to arrest her on the basis of a piece of the clothing that was not appropriately adjusted on a part of her body, her head. I'm talking about Mahsa Amini, a Kurdish woman who was in the streets of Tehran, arrested by a group of men that claim to be the morality police of the regime of Iran. Now, if Chancellor Scholz speaks about freedom and democracy as our heritage, well, this freedom and this democracy that we stand for doesn't stop at the border of the European Union. We are a truly internationalist movement, and what happens in Iran cannot be tolerated. And therefore, we stand in full solidarity with the brave women and men of Iran who are protesting in the streets of Iran against the Iranian regime.
Ciao, 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 ciao